Hey Smashers, my name is Joy-Cons and today I'll be defining some Smash terminology you might hear at tournaments. This terminology will be terminology that's relevant to the Smash Ultimate competitive scene. So with that, let's get into it. The first one is advantage state. Advantage state can be when you're comboing somebody, or you have your opponent in the air and they need to land but you keep juggling them. Any kind of pressure that you're putting on your opponent where their options are limited. Next we have All-Rounder. An All-Rounder is a character that isn't too good at everything but isn't bad at everything either. So examples would be Mario or Ivysaur. The next term is Anchor. In Squad Strike or Crew Battles, a way certain people play Smash, the last character or last player to get eliminated is called an Anchor. An Anti-Air is when you hit somebody out of the air. The next term is an Auto-Cancel. Certain moves will have less lag if you land during specific parts of that move. That's called an auto-cancel. For example, Meta Knight's Mach Tornado can go high up in the air if you mash B, so if you get it at the right height and land at the right time, then it will have less lag. Next up we have Bear. Bear is short for back air, a move that every character can do. A back throw, on the other hand, is after you grab somebody and you launch them behind you. It's not called B-throw because back throw and B-throw, it takes the same amount of time to say. And that goes for a lot of terms too. A bait and punish is when you provoke an option from an opponent and then you get them for that. If I was in advantage state and my opponent was in the air, I could go up to them and use my multiple double jumps to try to make them air dodge and punish them for that. The blast zone is the part of the stage that's off the screen, and if your character comes into contact with it, then you die, get KO'd. The next one is a B reverse. A B reverse is where you reverse your momentum with one of your special moves, which uses the B button. A bread and butter is a combo that every player of that character must learn. So for example, Meta Knight's ladder combo has to be learned, so it's one of his bread and butter combos. Terry's jab jab power attack is also a bread and butter combo. A burst option is a move that's unreactable and covers a certain amount of distance. That's what's also called burst range, is that distance. It's about a platform's width. Next up is camping. Camping is when a character is doing something to where it's really hard to get close to them. It's really hard to find an opening. Characters that are really good at this are Samus and Snake. A cancel or canceling means you're canceling a move into a different move. Shotos and Terry are really proficient at this. All characters can do it and it's called attack canceling, but that's really deep and complicated stuff that even I don't know. It's also worth mentioning that only a few characters such as Roy or Palutena benefit from it. The next term is crouch canceling. Crouch canceling is where you're crouching and you significantly reduce the knockback of any move you get hit by. Crouching takes one frame, but so does shielding, so nobody crouch cancels. Next up is character crisis. A character crisis is when somebody has a problem picking a character for like a main or secondary because he doubts whether that character is viable. Cheese in Smash is like a gimmicky or unfair tactic. You could call my Condor Dive a cheese, but I worked hard on that, so please don't. The next term is clank. A clank is when two attacks hit each other at the same time and cancel each other out and deal damage to nobody, and both opponents snap back for a little bit and are stunned, except for a few very rare exceptions. The next term is combo food. Combo food is a character that can really be comboed very, very easily. Examples are Donkey Kong, Charizard, or Ridley. A combo breaker is a really fast animation that can be used to escape combos. Examples being a nice frame 2 air dodge or Luigi's down B, stuff like that. Next up is a command grab. A command grab is a special move using the B button that grabs opponents automatically, such as Bowser's or Incineroar's side B. Conditioning is a pretty hard topic to describe, so I'll try my best. Let's say your opponent is doing something and you punish it, right? Well, the move that you choose to punish it with also matters too. So you could punish it with an F smash and get all that juicy percent, right? Or you could do a less damaging move that covers that option and the next most likely one. So you're covering multiple options and basically suffocating your opponent. Believe it or not, you'll earn more percent in the long run, and you'll actually be able to read your opponent faster. I don't exactly do this, and that's something I need to work on, but at least now you guys know about it. The next term is confirm. A confirm is a move that leads into another move, and a kill confirm, at that, is a move that leads into another move that kills. All characters have kill confirms. The next term is a counterpick. A counterpick is when someone chooses a favorable stage or character that's good against their opponent. A crew battle is where teams of players share a stock pool. So it's usually a team of 5 people, and they all have 3 stocks. So that's 15 stocks for that crew. And once all of those are depleted, their crew loses. It's a way of playing Smash that's actually pretty fun. A cross-up is where you go behind an opponent using an attack. So if you use a dash attack such as Kirby's or Samus's, that will cross up the opponent. Or if you land with an aerial that crosses up the opponent, that means that you're behind the opponent. The next term is a term called DI, which is short for directional influence. It's where you hold a certain direction on the left stick to change where you're launched, and it can actually keep you from dying at certain percents. It's very important to learn, so make sure you do. Remember when I talked about advantage state? Well, disadvantage state is when you are the one being comboed or juggled or off stage, stuff like that, when you are the one getting pressured. Next is a term called disjoints. A disjoint is a move that extends past your character's hurt box, which is where you can get hurt. So an example of this would be people like Ike. He has a really big sword that extends far past his body. That is a good disjoint. Meta Knight's disjoints are okay, but he's more of a brawler than a swordie. The next term is called dare, which is short for down air. And while we're at it, there's also down smash and down throw. And you don't say D smash or D throw like I said before. Next up is a drag down. A drag down is where weak multi-hits pull opponents down. Drift is where characters move around in the air. Some characters like Jigglypuff are exceptional at drift, while other characters like Ganondorf aren't. The next term is edge cancel. An edge cancel is where you cancel a B move such as Diddy's side B or Palutena's up B by sliding off of the edge, so you get to act out of it, even though things like Palutena's up B would normally put you in free fall. An edge guard is where you prevent someone's recovery back to the stage as much as possible. Meta Knight is really good at this. The next term is called fair, and it's short for forward air. The next 2 terms are called fast fall and fast faller. So a fast fall is when you hold down on the left stick to fall way faster than you originally were, and a fast faller is someone who just falls fast naturally on their own, such as Fox or Mithra. Our next definition is frame data. Frame data is how long it takes for an attack to come out, how long it lasts, and how much end lag it has. UltimateFrameData.com is a must-see website for every Smash player learning frame data. The next definition we have is a frame trap. A frame trap is where it's a combo, but not really a combo, but if you get out of it, then they can just react with another attack. So it kinda basically is a combo in a manner of speaking. The only characters I know who can frame trap are Donkey Kong, Fox, and Meta Knight. The next definition is the word I used earlier in the video, and that is freefall. Freefall is where you're falling in a defenseless state because you used a certain special, so Meta Knight specials have freefall. Many up specials result in freefall. The next definition is a certain part of a tournament that's really fun, and it's called friendlies. Friendlies is before a tournament starts, and it's where you can practice, try out new things, or practice matchups. I think it's the most important part of a tournament. The next 2 are F smash and F tilt, and they stand for forward smash or forward tilt. Just be really careful when you say yes with the F smash. Let's just say it's happened before. The next definition is gentleman. A gentleman is where if both players agree to do a stage, then they can do any stage, even if it's not tournament legal. Next up is gimp. To gimp someone means to knock them so far away from the stage that they can't get back. Meta Knight is really good at gimping. A hard read is when you punish something, but if you miss, you could get hit back. Next up is hitbox. In other games, hitbox might mean where you can get hit, but that's different. A hitbox in Smash is how much area your attack covers. Next up is something called hit lag, and it's unique to Smash. Every time someone gets hit, the game slows down. So this might make an attack last longer than expected if they hit something else before hitting you, such as a tournament legal item, or another opponent. Next up is hit stun. In Smash Ultimate, hit stun is the time before you can act after you're getting hit. So every time anybody gets hit by an attack, there is hit stun because there's a time before they can act, and that's why combos are a thing. The next definition is instant double jump. It's an aerial that goes in between the short hop and full hop height and is useful for very combo heavy characters, but it does take away your double jump. Next up is an infinite. An infinite is a combo, but it can last forever, even into 999%. The only 3 characters I know who can do this are Diddy Kong, Sora, and Zelda. Except for Zelda, the opponent already needs to be at 230%, so mainly Diddy Kong and Sora. Next up is a jab lock. Jab locks are really important to learn in Smash. It's where your opponent misses a tech and any light attack or some spikes at low percents can reset them for extra stuns so you can build up a big punish. So for most characters, their opponent misses the tech and then they'll do jab 1, wait at just the right time, jab 1 again, and then F smash. The next term is called a jair, and it's basically a jab that leads into an attack cancel back air. Roy and Chrom do this, and Samus can do it. Next up is JV2, JV3, or JV4. Let's say you beat your opponent and you have 2 stocks, but your second stock is at 0%. So you basically 3-stocked him. You can look up the history of the origins of this term here on YouTube. Next up is actually a meme, and it's called
Please, no Johns.
A John is an excuse, and you can look up the origins here on YouTube again. Next up is the ledge trapping phase, and this is where one opponent is on the ledge and the other is trying to guess what he's going to do, or just trying to cover as many options as possible. A local is a tournament that's not big, but not small either. Like, it has really good players from all the counties in your area. Next up is main. A main is the character you play most. It's your primary character. The next definition is mash, and it can have 2 meanings. Either someone is just button mashing because they're panicking and they're noobs, or they're mashing out of attacks like a berry or a grab. That's something you can mash out of, and the more buttons you press, or the more you spin the analog stick, the more you'll get out of it, the faster you'll get out of it. Next up, we have a word that I've used before, and it's matchup. A matchup is how characters interact with other characters. There are good matchups and bad matchups depending on the moveset. The meta is how people play characters. People are always trying to push their character to greater limits, and over time they might play that character differently than a few years ago. The next definition is nair, and it's short for neutral air. Next up is neutral. The neutral phase is the part of Smash where neither opponent has the advantage or disadvantage. It's where you're trying to find openings. Each game starts in neutral. The next definition is OOS, and it's short for out of shield. When people attack you with aerials or moves, they might not be safe on shield, or maybe they are. It's really important to study the safety of shield and your out of shield options, your moves that you can use out of shield. The next definition is a parry. A parry is when you let go of the shield at the right time as an attack connects and you get a significant advantage. It also gives you 3 extra frames to work with for your out of shield game, as well as eliminating any time you have to hold the shield because an attack hit you. A pocket character is your tertiary, your quaternary, or so on. A pop-off is when someone is like really hyped up because they won and they're just jumping up and down, they're so excited. The next definition is called PR, and it's short for power rankings. Certain tournaments are called feeder tournaments because they feed into the PR and put you on a leaderboard. Next up is Rage. Rage starts coming when you take a lot of damage and will cap at 150 and increase your knockback to a maximum of 1.1 multiplier. A read is when you see someone doing something and then you read that they're going to do it again. It's called reading opponents, and so now you know what they're going to do. Soft reads are where you use lighter attacks that cover multiple options, and hard reads are where you choose a committal option like I was talking about before with conditioning. Next is reset. A reset is when you hit the ground or grab the ledge and your jumps are restored, and your specials. Salt, and by extent tilt, is when someone is feeling very angry about the game and they are starting to play bad because of it and they're getting angry. Next up is SD, and it means self-destruct. means dying when you shouldn't have. You just fall down off the stage. Next up is a term called SDI, and it's short for Smash Directional Influence. And it's very useful for getting out of combos. It's really important to learn. Next up is shield poke. A shield poke is when you get hit and your shield shrinks and there are uncovered parts of your character. So when those parts of your character get hit, that is called a shield poke and you get hit anyway. A sour spot is the weak part of a hitbox, and while we're at it, a sweet spot is the stronger part. The next definition is spacing, and it's an important technique in Ultimate where you kind of drift back with any attacks you might have on shield. So spacing on shield is when you are outside of where the opponent can hit you. So the opponent can't hit you back because you spaced something. In Smash, there's a definition called super armor, and it's where a move cannot be interrupted. So some good examples are Little Mac's smash attacks or Kazuya's smash attacks. I might as well mention that heavy armor is like super armor, but if the move that it gets hit by is high enough damage, that it will be interrupted. The next definition is teabagging. Teabagging is a disrespectful thing you can do in Smash by crouching up and down. And while it doesn't have any sexual connotations in Smash specifically, it's still disrespectful because you're celebrating your opponent's death. KO. If they teabag at the start of a match, they're probably referring to the Pop-It 1 handshake where you two walk up to each other and do like a light attack, such as Jab 1 or, in Meta Knight's case, F-Tilt 1. Before you deem it disrespectful, however, did a funny thing happen? Like, did someone get their stock cheesed or something? Because teabagging can also mean that it's funny. Next up is teching. A tech is where you hit air dodge right as you hit the ground while you're in tumble to try to get like a soft landing, and you can also do it to the left or right. Tech chasing is where you're punishing where your opponent is teching. A 3-stock is a pretty nice accomplishment in Smash, and it means that you beat your opponent without losing any of your stocks. In the Smash competitive scene, the TO stands for Tournament Organizer. A true combo is not a frame trap. True combo is where your opponent hasn't even exited hit stun, let alone try to make a move. In Smash, when you grab a ledge, you are vulnerable for exactly 2 frames, or 1/30th of a second. When your attack hits the opponent during this time, it is called a 2 frame. Now, you can't abbreviate up airs by saying pair, but I've never heard any Smash commentator do it. Next up is an upset. An upset is when someone was not expected to win, but they did anyway. Next up is a VOD. VOD stands for Video On Demand, and typically includes a set between certain players. Next up is Whiff Punish. A whiff is when an attack misses, and a whiff punish is when you punish that end lap. Next up is a 0 to death. A 0 to death is where you take someone's stock from 0% to killing. KOing. That's what I said. While you're not getting hurt. Now, it doesn't have to be a true combo, but it still is a 0 to death if you do it. Next is a Zair, and it's short for Z-Air. I know, crazy, right? But it's because the Z button on the GameCube controller back in Smash Melee was the button used for this. Right now, it's your grab button. If you're in the air right by a flying item and press grab, you will do what's called a Z catch. If you're holding an item and you drop it using the grab button, it's called a Z drop. And that, my friends, is all the slang and jargon I know from Smash tournaments. Now, I definitely haven't said everything, but I hope this definitely helped. Just about everything else you'll know the meaning just from hearing once. Like, what do you think misinput means? You guessed it, it's a misinput, you know, you didn't do the input correctly, you know? I'll see you guys next time.